6 months had passed since the incident on Neutral Station 7. Many things had changed. The research station on Varus 4 looked different now. Human and Mirathi buildings stood side by side. Scientists from both species walked the same paths, worked in the same labs, and shared the same mission. Understanding was growing, one day at a time. Velith stood on the observation deck, watching the morning sun rise over the purple meadows. The same meadows where they had first seen Tairi eat those terrible, wonderful, deadly berries. That moment felt like a lifetime ago. Coral joined them, as they did every morning now. The young Mirathi had become quite famous. Their research paper, titled Humans, Biological Impossibilities and What They Teach Us About Adaptation, was now required reading in xenobiology courses across 3 galactic sectors. Coral had become an expert on humanity, though they admitted they still did not fully understand the species. "Good morning, Observer Velith," Coral said. Their voice was bright and cheerful. Working with humans had changed them. They were less fearful now, more curious about the universe. "Good morning, Recorder Coral," Velith replied. They had stopped using formal titles weeks ago, but old habits took time to break. "The High Arbiter arrives today," Coral reminded them. A formal visit to recognize the new cooperative research program. Velith nodded. High Arbiter Thesson had followed humanity's story closely since the first reports. At first, they had been among the most worried. Now, they were among the most supportive. The younglings saved on Neutral Station 7 had changed many minds. Tairi appeared on the path below. She was carrying sample containers, her usual morning routine. She looked up and waved at the 2 Mirathi. Velith waved back without hesitation. 6 months ago, they would have frozen at any sudden movement from a human. Now, it felt natural. "Come down," Tairi called. "I found something you might want to see." Velith and Coral made their way down to the meadow. Tairi was standing beside a bush, the same type of bush where everything had started. Small red berries hung from its branches. "More death berries," Velith observed, keeping their voice neutral. Tairi laughed. "We really need to find a better name for these. They are not deadly to anyone on this station." She paused. "Well, not anymore." It was true. After the demonstration and the rescue, the Galactic Council had reassessed their toxin classification system. They had added a new category, toxic to most species, but safe for humans and human-compatible biologies. The berries were no longer Class 7. They were now Class 7H. The H stood for human exception. There were many H classifications now. Caffeine H, capsaicin H, alcohol H. The entire classification system had been updated to account for humanity's unique biology. "I wanted to show you something," Tairi said. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small container. Inside were dried berries, processed and preserved. "What is this?" Velith asked. "Duyan and I have been working on something. We analyzed the compounds in these berries and found that some of them have medicinal properties. They can help reduce inflammation and support cellular repair. For humans, eating them raw provides these benefits naturally. But for other species, we can extract the helpful compounds and remove the toxic ones." She handed the container to Velith. "We made these for Mirathi. The dangerous elements have been removed. Only the beneficial ones remain. Duyun tested them extensively. They are completely safe." Velith stared at the container. They understood what this meant. The same berries that had once symbolized the terrifying gap between human and Mirathi biology were now a bridge. The humans had used their understanding of poison to create medicine. "You turned death into healing," Velith said softly. "We learned to do that on Earth," Tairi replied. "Many of our medicines come from things that are poisonous in different forms or doses. The same chemical that kills can also cure. It just depends on how you use it. Coral recorded this exchange carefully. It would go in their next paper. The ceremony that afternoon was simple but meaningful. High Arbiter Thiessen arrived on a shuttle and was greeted by both human and Mirathi teams. Captain Yunbai represented humanity. Velith represented the Mirathi observation team. I have come to formally welcome humanity into a new role within galactic society, Thiessen announced. Their voice carried across the gathered crowd. For too long, we viewed humans with fear. We saw your ability to consume toxins and survive hostile environments as a threat. We were wrong. They paused, looking at the mixed crowd of humans and Mirathi. Humanity's unique biology is not a danger to be contained. It is a resource to be valued. From this day forward, humans will serve as special advisors on biological hazards and survival in hostile environments. Your species' experience on your death world gives you knowledge that no other species possesses. We are grateful for your willingness to share that knowledge. Captain Yunbai accepted the formal acknowledgement with quiet dignity. She did not make a long speech. She simply said, "We are happy to help." Survival is easier when you work together. After the ceremony, Velith and Tayri walked through the meadow together. Their friendship had grown strong over the past months. They had learned to understand each other, despite their vast biological differences. "I have a confession," Velith said. "When I first saw you eat those berries, I thought you were insane. I thought all humans were defective somehow. I could not understand how any being could survive what you survived. And now?" Terry asked. "Now I understand that survival takes many forms. Your species found one path. My species found another. Neither is wrong. They are just different." Terry nodded. "That is a good way to look at it." They walked in comfortable silence for a while. The purple grass swayed in the gentle breeze. Insects buzzed around flowers. It was a peaceful moment on a world that had once seemed so strange. "Velith," Terry said suddenly, "would you like to try something?" She pulled out a small container. Inside was a single berry, but it was pale yellow instead of red. "This is from Earth," Tari explained. "We call it a banana. It is one of the mildest fruits we have. No significant toxins. Very gentle on digestion. I checked with Duyan. It should be completely safe for Mirathi." Velith stared at the strange yellow fruit. 6 months ago, they would have refused immediately. They would have been too afraid. But things were different now. Trust had been built. Understanding had grown. Slowly, carefully, Velith extended one appendage. They picked up the banana. They studied it for a moment. "How do I eat it?" they asked. Terry showed them how to peel back the skin. The fruit inside was soft and pale. Velith took a small bite. The taste was strange but not unpleasant. Sweet, with a smooth texture. It was unlike anything the Mirathi normally ate. It was something new. "What do you think?" Terry asked. Velith considered the question. They thought about everything that had happened since they first saw a human eat deadly berries. They thought about the fear, the confusion, the growing understanding, and the friendship that had developed. "I think," Velith said slowly, "that the universe is full of surprises. And I am glad that humanity is one of them." A new human ship arrived at the station that evening. Fresh crew members came down to the surface. One of them sat near the meadow during dinner, eating a meal from containers brought from the ship. Velith watched as the new human bit into a bright purple fruit. Their scanner identified it immediately. Moderate toxin levels, multiple potentially harmful compounds. 6 months ago, Velith would have panicked. They would have shouted warnings. They would have filed emergency reports. Now, they simply walked over to the new human. "What is that?" Velith asked calmly. And how deadly is it? The human looked up, surprised. They had not expected a Mirathi to approach so casually. They smiled. It is called a plum, they said. Pretty mild, really. Want to try some? Velith hesitated. Then they thought about Tairi, about Duyun and Yunbai, about Coral and Thiessen and everyone who had helped build this moment. They thought about the banana they had eaten earlier. Perhaps next time, Velith said. But I would like to learn more about it. The human smile widened. I would be happy to teach you. Across the station, in small moments like this, two species were learning to understand each other. The universe was vast and often frightening. It was full of dangers and poisons and hostile environments. But it was also full of friendship, shared meals, and a simple act of reaching out to someone different. Humanity had come to the stars carrying all the stubborn resilience of their death world. They had brought their strange foods and their impossible biology and their determination to survive anything. And in doing so, they had taught the galaxy an important lesson. The universe was less frightening when you faced it together, even if one of you ate poison for breakfast. The demonstration was held on Neutral Station 7, a place designed for diplomatic meetings between species who did not fully trust each other. The station floated in empty space, far from any planet or territory. It was the safest place to observe dangerous things. Today, the dangerous thing being observed was a human eating lunch. Representatives from 15 species had gathered in the observation gallery. They watched through reinforced, transparent walls as Yun Tairi sat at a simple table. In front of her were containers of various earth foods. Each container had been scanned and certified. Each one contained something that could kill most beings in the room. Captain Wang Yunbai stood beside Velith, watching her crew member prepare for the demonstration. Kang Duyun monitored medical equipment nearby, ready to verify that Tairi remained healthy throughout the process. This feels strange, Yunbai admitted. We are showing off our ability to eat poison like it is a talent. Velith made a soft clicking sound. For us, it is remarkable. Please try to understand. My species cannot even touch most of those foods without experiencing pain. Terry looked up at the observation gallery and waved. Several delegates flinched at the sudden movement. She pretended not to notice. I will begin with something mild, she announced through the communication system. Her voice was calm and professional. This is called kimchi. It is fermented cabbage. The fermentation process creates bacteria and acids. On Earth, we consider this a healthy food. She opened the container. The smell of fermented vegetables filled the small chamber. Delegates with sensitive smell organs made sounds of distress. Terry took a bite. She chewed slowly and swallowed. Duyun checked his readings. Heart rate stable. Blood pressure normal. No signs of distress. It tastes like home, Terry said with a small smile. The next container held sliced peppers. They were bright red and looked harmless. The scanner beside Terry displayed their chemical composition. High levels of capsaicin glowed in warning colors. These are called gochugaru peppers, Terry explained. They had dried and crushed to make spice for cooking. The capsaicin content would cause severe pain and inflammation in most species. She ate a slice. Nothing happened. She ate another. A delegate from a plant-based species spoke through the communication system. Your body shows no reaction to the chemical weapon you just consumed? I feel a slight warming sensation in my mouth, Terry replied. It is pleasant. Some humans would say these peppers are not spicy enough. The demonstration continued. Coffee was consumed. Dark chocolate was eaten. Terry even added salt to her food, explaining that sodium chloride in large amounts was deadly to many species but necessary for human survival. Velith watched with a mixture of horror and growing admiration. The human woman was not performing tricks. She was simply eating a normal meal. The fact that her normal meal could kill most of the observers was almost beyond comprehension. "I want to understand something," Velas said to Captain Yumbai. "Why did humans develop this way? What advantage did eating poison provide?" Yumbai thought carefully before answering. "Flexibility. Our world was unpredictable. The species that could only eat one type of food died when that food disappeared. Humans learned to eat almost anything. Meat, plants, insects, fungi, things that were rotting, things that were raw, things that were burning hot. The more we could eat, the better we could survive. But the toxins," Velith pressed. "Why tolerate poison specifically?" "Because poison was everywhere," Mbai replied. "Every plant that wanted to survive developed some form of defense. If we refused to eat defended plants, we would have starved. So we developed countermeasures. Our bodies learned to neutralize poisons. And eventually, we learned to enjoy the flavors those poisons created." In the demonstration chamber, Terry had finished her meal. She stood up and turned to face the observation gallery. "Any questions?" she asked. A delegate with crystalline features spoke. "You appear completely healthy. Our medical scanners confirm this. But our toxicological scanners say you should be dead. How do we reconcile this?" "Perhaps your toxicological classifications need updating," Terry suggested gently. "The galaxy is more diverse than any single classification system can capture." Before anyone could respond, an alarm began sounding. Red lights flashed throughout the station. A voice spoke over the emergency system. "Medical emergency. Section 12. Medical emergency." Du Yun was already moving. Yumbai followed quickly. Velith hesitated for only a moment before running after them. Section 12 was a residential area used by visiting delegations. When they arrived, they found chaos. Several young Mirathi were lying on the ground. Their bodies were twitching. Older Mirathi crowded around them, making sounds of panic. "What happened?" the Yun demanded, pulling out his medical scanner. An adult Mirathi answered, their voice shaking. "The younglings drank the water. The station water. They were thirsty and did not wait for filtered supplies. The water contains trace minerals that are safe for most species but toxic to juvenile Mirathi." The Yun scanned the nearest youngling. The readings were bad. The minerals were already affecting their systems. Without treatment, they would die within hours. "I need their biological data," the Yun said. "What compounds do Mirathi use for toxin removal? What are their safe dosage levels?" The adult Mirathi shook their head helplessly. "Our medical staff is on our ship. It will take too long to reach them. We do not have the equipment here." The Yun's face became very focused. Terry and Yumbai arrived behind him. They immediately understood the situation. "What do you need?" Yumbai asked. "Time," the Yun replied, "and information about Mirathi biology. I can treat toxin exposure in humans, but I need to understand how Mirathi systems work." Velith stepped forward. "I can provide biological data. I have records of my species on my device." "Send them to my scanner," Du Yun said immediately. Data began flowing. Du Yun read through it rapidly, his eyes moving fast. His brain worked to connect what he knew about toxins and treatment with the new information about Mirathi physiology. "Their filtration organs work differently than human kidneys," he muttered. "But the basic principle is similar. The toxins need to be bound and removed before they cause permanent damage." He opened his medical bag. Inside were treatments designed for humans, but some of the base compounds might work for other carbon-based species. "Terry, I need you to prepare a diluted chelation solution. Use the mineral content data from the water scan to calculate the binding ratios." Terry moved immediately to assist. "Velith, Does your biology tolerate activated carbon compounds? Velis checked their records. Yes, activated carbon is used in some of our water purification systems. Good. That will help absorb remaining toxins in their digestive systems. For the next hour, the humans worked to save the Merethi younglings. The Yun adjusted human treatments to work with alien biology. Terry calculated precise dosages based on body weight and metabolism rates. Yunbai coordinated with station staff to provide supplies and keep bystanders calm. Velis watched in amazement. The same humans who casually ate poison were now using their knowledge of toxins to save lives. They worked quickly and confidently. They did not panic. They did not give up. They adapted their skills to a new situation and made them work. One by one, the younglings began to stabilize. Their twitching stopped. Their readings improved. The adult Merethi wept with relief when the crisis was over. Velith approached Duyun. The human mech was tired but satisfied. You saved them, Velith said. You used your understanding of poison to save our children. Duyun shrugged. Toxins are just chemicals. Understanding chemicals means understanding how to neutralize them. Whether I am processing poison in my own body or removing it from someone else, the principles are similar. Velith stared at the human for a long moment. I think I finally understand, they said slowly. Your relationship with poison is not just survival. It is mastery. You do not simply tolerate toxins. You understand them completely. To rejoin them, wiping her hands on a cloth. We had no choice. On Earth, understanding toxins meant life or death. We learned what was dangerous, how it worked, and how to deal with it. That knowledge did not just help us eat safely. It helped us develop medicine. It helped us save lives. Captain Yunbai put her hand on Velith's appendage gently. We know we seem frightening to you. Creatures who eat poison and survive. But we are not monsters. We are survivors. And survivors learn to help others survive too. Velith looked at the younglings, now sleeping peacefully under medical supervision. Their species had always seen humans as dangerous anomalies. Strange beings who defied the rules of biology. But today, those dangerous anomalies had saved Merethi lives. Perhaps humanity was not just a threat to understand. Perhaps they were an ally to embrace. The galaxy was changing. And humanity was changing it, one impossible act at a time. The Galactic Council chambers were located on a massive space station called Unity Point. Representatives from over 200 species gathered here to discuss matters of galactic importance. Today, there was only one topic on the agenda: humans. High Arbiter Thiessen stood at the central podium. Behind them, a massive screen displayed the official emblem of the Galactic Observation Council. Around the chamber, delegates from 12 major species had assembled. They had all received the same reports. They had all seen the same evidence. None of them fully believed it. Thank you all for responding to this emergency session, Thiessen began. As you know, the Merethi Collective has been observing the human species for 3 cycles. We have filed many routine reports during this time. However, our most recent observations require immediate attention. The screen changed. It now showed Yun Tae-ri eating berries. The video played in slow motion, showing every detail of her casual consumption of Class 7 toxins. Several delegates made sounds of distress. One ambassador, a delicate being from a water world, had to look away. This is not an error, Thiessen continued. This is not a trick. The human consumed enough poison to kill a Merethi colony. She experienced no negative effects. She described the taste as mild. The chamber filled with whispered conversations. Thiessen raised a hand for silence. We have invited a human representative to explain this phenomenon. Please welcome Yun Tae-ri, xenobotanist, Research Vessel Horizon's Edge. Terry walked to the podium. She wore her standard uniform, clean and professional. She looked very small compared to many of the delegates. Some of them were 3 times her size. Some had armor. Some had claws. She had none of these things, but she was the one making them nervous. "Thank you for this opportunity," Terry said. Her voice was calm and friendly. "I understand that my eating habits have caused concern. I hope I can explain things clearly." She activated her own presentation. The screen showed a blue and green planet. "This is Earth," she said. "It is the homeworld of humanity. By galactic standards, it is classified as a Category 12 planet." She paused. "I have learned that this means it is considered extremely dangerous." Several delegates nodded. "I would like to show you why Earth received this classification. Perhaps then you will understand why humans eat the things we eat." The first image appeared. It showed a large creature with thick fur, sharp claws, and massive teeth. "This is a bear," Tari said. "It is one of many predators on Earth. It can weigh up to 700 kilograms. It can run faster than a human. It can tear through wood and metal with its claws. Humans have lived alongside bears for our entire existence as a species." The next image showed a long-scaled creature with rows of sharp teeth. "This is a crocodile. It lives in water and can hold its breath for over an hour. It attacks by grabbing prey and spinning its body to tear flesh. Some crocodiles are over 6 meters long. They have existed on Earth for over 80 million years." More images followed: wolves, lions, sharks, venomous snakes, poisonous frogs. Each one was described briefly. Each one had killed humans at some point in history. Humans had survived anyway. But the animals were not our only challenge, Terry continued. The plants were also dangerous. The screen showed colorful flowers and fruits. Many plants on Earth developed toxins to protect themselves. If an animal ate them, the animal would become sick or die. This was evolution. The plants that poisoned their enemies survived. The plants that did not were eaten to extinction. She pulled up a list of compounds. The delegates recognized many of them from Valeth's reports: capsaicin, caffeine, theobromine, cyanogenic glycosides. All of these compounds are natural defense mechanisms. Plants created them to stop animals from eating them. She smiled slightly. Humans ate them anyway. One delegate, a being with many tentacles and a large central eye, raised an appendage. "Why? If the plants were poisonous, why consume them?" "Because we had no choice," Terry replied. Earth was competitive. Resources were limited. If humans refused to eat anything that was slightly toxic, we would have starved. So we adapted. Our bodies developed ways to process toxins. Our livers filtered poisons from our blood. Our digestive systems broke down harmful compounds before they could hurt us. She advanced to the next slide. It showed a graph of human evolution over millions of years. Over time, humans did not just tolerate toxins. We began to enjoy them. Capsaicin causes a burning sensation in the mouth, but it also triggers the release of chemicals in our brains that create feelings of pleasure. We learn to associate the pain with reward. The delegate from the water world spoke up. Their voice was soft and musical. "You experience pain, and your response is to feel pleasure?" "Sometimes, yes. We call foods that cause this reaction spicy. Many humans actively seek out spicy foods. They compete to eat the spiciest foods possible. There are competitions and prizes." A heavy silence followed this statement. Terry continued. "Caffeine is a stimulant. It affects our nervous system and makes us feel more alert. Many humans cannot function in the morning without consuming caffeine first. It is deeply integrated into our culture. She showed images of coffee shops, tea houses, energy drink advertisements. The delegates stared at pictures of humans happily consuming neurotoxins. Alcohol is perhaps the most interesting example, Terry said. It is a cellular poison. In large amounts, it can kill a human. In smaller amounts, it affects our judgment, our coordination, and our memory. Despite this, humans have been producing and consuming alcohol for at least 10,000 years. We drink it at celebrations. We drink it during meals. We give it as gifts. An image appeared showing humans raising glasses and smiling. We drink poison and call it a party, Terry summarized. High Arbiter Thiessen stood up. This is deeply disturbing information. But I have one more question. They gestured at the screen showing Earth. If your world was so hostile, why did you not simply die? Why did your species not go extinct? Terry considered the question carefully. When she answered, her voice was thoughtful. Because we are stubborn. Humans do not give up easily. When something tries to kill us, we find a way to survive. When something poisons us, we learn to eat it anyway. When the environment threatens us, we change ourselves to fit it. She paused. Our planet tried to kill us for millions of years. We refused to die. The chamber was completely silent. A delegate from a silicon-based species spoke. Their voice sounded like grinding stones. What other things does your species do that we should know about? Terry exchanged a look with Captain Yumbai and Duyan, who sat in the observation gallery. They all seemed to share the same thought. Where would they even begin? We have many unusual traits, Terry finally said. We can chase prey until they collapse from exhaustion. We can recover from injuries that would kill other species. We can survive temperature ranges from -40 to +50 degrees. We form emotional bonds with almost anything, including creatures that could kill us. We keep predators in our homes as companions. We call them pets. She took a deep breath. We are not the strongest species in the galaxy. We are not the fastest. We do not have the best senses or the most advanced technology, but we are possibly the most persistent. We do not stop. We do not quit. We adapt, we survive, and we keep going. The High Arbiter finally spoke again. This session is adjourned. We must discuss what we have learned. They looked directly at Terry. You have given us much to think about, human. Perhaps more than you realize. Terry bowed politely. As she left the podium, she heard delegates whispering to each other. Some voices were worried. Some were curious. A few sounded almost admiring. Quirrell met her at the exit. The young Mirathi had been recording everything. That was an excellent presentation, Quirrell said. I have one more question for my records. Terry nodded. Go ahead. You said humans keep predators as companions. Can you explain this more? Terry smiled. We take animals that could hurt us, and we love them. We feed them. We let them sleep in our beds. We are sad when they die. She thought about her own pet back on Earth, a large dog with sharp teeth and a friendly personality. The same stubbornness that helps us survive also helps us form connections. We see potential friends everywhere, even in things that should be our enemies. Quirrell recorded this carefully. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. As Terry walked back to her ship, she wondered what the galaxy would do with the information she had shared. Would they fear humanity? Would they respect humanity? Would they try to avoid humanity entirely? She did not know, but she knew one thing for certain. Humanity had survived a Category 12 death world. They had eaten poison and called it dinner. They had tamed predators and called them family. Whatever the galaxy decided, humans would adapt. They always did. The emergency report traveled through space at faster than light speed. Velith had written it carefully, checking every word twice. They included scanner data, video recordings, and biological readings. Everything was documented perfectly. The response from the Galactic Observation Council came within hours. "Report flagged for review," the message said. "Content appears fabricated. No known species can survive Class 7 toxin consumption. Please verify equipment and resubmit." Velith read the message 3 times. They showed it to Quarrel. "They think we made it up," Quarrel said. Their antenna drooped with frustration. "They think our equipment is broken." "Our equipment is working perfectly," Velith replied. "The humans really did eat those berries. And they really are still alive." The 2 Mirathi sat in the observation room of their ship. Through the window, they could see Varus 4 turning slowly below them. Somewhere on that planet, humans were probably eating more poison right now. Quarrel pulled up their research terminal. "Maybe we should learn more about humans before we send another report. If we understand how they survive toxins, our next report will be more believable." It was a good idea. Velith nodded approval. For the next several hours, Quarrel searched through every database available. They found human biological data. They found Earth ecosystem reports. They found nutritional studies from human academic institutions. What they discovered changed everything. "Velith," Quarrel said quietly, "you need to see this." Velith moved closer to the screen. Quarrel had created a list. The title read, "Toxic Substances Regularly Consumed by Humans." The list was very long. Capsaicin. Humans ate this chemical in something called chili peppers. Capsaicin was classified as a chemical weapon by 17 galactic species. It caused severe pain and tissue damage. Humans put it on their food because they liked the burning sensation in their mouths. Caffeine. This was a powerful neurotoxin found in seeds and leaves on Earth. It disrupted cellular function and could cause heart failure in many species. Humans consumed it every morning in a drink called coffee. Some humans consumed it multiple times per day. They said it helped them feel awake. Alcohol. This was a cellular poison created through fermentation. It damaged organs and impaired brain function. Humans drank it at celebrations. They drank it when they were sad. They drank it for no reason at all. They had been drinking it for thousands of years. Theobromine. This compound caused heart problems in most species. Humans ate it in something called chocolate. They considered chocolate a treat. They gave it as gifts. They ate it when they wanted to feel happy. The list continued. Allicin from garlic. Oxalic acid from spinach. Solanine from potatoes. Myristicin from nutmeg. Every item was toxic to most galactic species. Every item was a normal part of human meals. "They eat poison every day," Quarrel said. "Every single day. Multiple types of poison, mixed together. And they enjoy it." Velith felt dizzy. They sat down heavily. "How are they still alive?" They whispered. "How has their species not gone extinct?" Quarrel kept reading. They found an answer, but it only raised more questions. "Their planet," Quarrel said. "Earth. It is classified as a Category 12 death world." Category 12. That was the highest rating on the planetary danger scale. Category 12 worlds were considered too dangerous for colonization by most species. They had extreme temperatures, violent weather, aggressive predators, and toxic environments. Humans had evolved on a Category 12 death world. They had not just survived. They had thrived. They had become the dominant species. They had built civilization, created technology, and reached into space. And they had done it all while eating poison. The Galactic Council demanded an inquiry. They still did not fully believe the reports, but they could not ignore them either. The humans were summoned to explain themselves. Captain Wang Yunbai received the summons calmly. She read it twice, then called her team together. "They want us to come to the Murithi observation ship," she announced. "They have questions about what Terry ate yesterday." Terry looked confused. It was just fruit, similar to strawberries. Apparently, it was also deadly poison, Duyan said. He had already read the Murithi report. By galactic standards, anyway. "Should I apologize?" Terry asked. "I don't think you did anything wrong," Umbai replied. "But we should go and answer their questions. This seems important." The three humans traveled to the Murithi ship. When they arrived, they were met by 6 armed guards. The guards kept a distance of at least 10 meters at all times. "They are treating us like we are dangerous," Duyun observed quietly. "We apparently are dangerous," Terry replied. "At least our eating habits are." Velith met them at the inquiry chamber. The senior observer looked tired. They had not slept since the berry incident. Every time they closed their eyes, they saw Terry eating poison with a happy smile. "Please sit," Velith said. "The inquiry will begin shortly." The humans sat at a table. The Murithi council members sat on the opposite side of the room. There was a lot of empty space between them. I Observer Thiessen led the inquiry. They were an older Murithi with faded coloring and many years of experience. But even they seemed nervous around the humans. "We have reviewed the evidence," Thiessen began. "We have confirmed that your equipment was functioning correctly. The human female did consume Class 7 toxins. She is still alive." They paused. "We do not understand how this is possible." Turi raised her hand politely. "May I explain?" Thiessen nodded cautiously. "The compounds in those berries are only toxic to species that lack certain enzymes," Terry said. "Humans produce these enzymes naturally. Our bodies break down the toxic compounds before they can cause harm. It's just basic biology." "Basic biology," Thiessen repeated. "You consider immunity to deadly poison basic biology?" "Well, not immunity exactly. More like tolerance. We can handle certain toxins in certain amounts. If I ate too many of those berries, I might get a stomachache. But they would not kill me." The Murithi council members exchanged looks of disbelief. Duyan took out a small container from his pocket. "If I may demonstrate something?" Thiessen nodded again. Though their antenna twitched nervously, Duyan opened the container and removed 2 small pills. "I have a headache today. These pills will help." He swallowed both pills with water. "What are those pills made of?" Velith asked. "Acetylsalicylic acid. We call it aspirin. It comes from tree bark that is toxic to most plant-eating species on Earth." Silence filled the room. Duyan then reached for a container he had brought from the ship. He poured dark brown liquid into a cup. "And this is coffee," he said. "It contains caffeine, which I understand is classified as a neurotoxin by galactic standards." He drank the entire cup in a few long swallows. Several Murithi physically moved their chairs backward. "Is there something wrong with this human?" Thiessen asked Captain Umbai. "Is he trying to harm himself?" "No," Umbai replied calmly. "He's just treating his headache and waking himself up. This is extremely normal behavior for humans." Thiessen leaned forward. "Are all humans capable of consuming deadly substances? Or are these 3 unusual examples?" Umbai smiled slightly. "We are actually considered quite boring eaters by human standards. I know humans who eat much more dangerous things than we do. Some of them eat food so spicy that their eyes water and their skin turns red. They consider it entertainment." Vela spoke up. "Entertainment? Eating poison is entertainment?" "Some humans compete to see who can eat the hottest peppers," Umbai confirmed. "There are prizes." The inquiry continued for another hour. The humans answered every question honestly and calmly. Each answer made the Murithi more disturbed. Finally, Thyssen made a decision. "We must report this to the Galactic Observation Council," they announced. "They need to know what kind of beings have joined galactic society. They need to understand what humanity truly is." As the humans left the inquiry room, Quirrell hurried to catch up with them. "I have one more question," the young Mirithi said. "What kind of world produces beings who eat poison for pleasure?" Terry stopped walking. She thought about the question carefully. "A very competitive world," she finally said. "A world where everything was trying to kill us. The plants, the animals, the weather, even the water. We learned to eat what tried to poison us. We learned to survive what tried to kill us." She smiled gently. "We had no choice. It was adapt or die." Quirrell recorded her words carefully. The galaxy was about to learn a very important lesson about humanity. The lesson was simple but terrifying. Humans did not just survive their death world. They ate it for breakfast. Veleth had been watching humans for 3 standard cycles now. In all that time, nothing had prepared them for what they saw on that ordinary afternoon on Varys 4. The Mirithi Collective had sent Veleth as a senior observer. Their job was simple: watch the humans, record their behavior, report to the Galactic Council. The humans were new to galactic society, and the council needed to know if they were safe to have around. Veleth thought the assignment would be boring. Humans seemed so plain. They had no claws, no armor, no venom. They walked slowly on just 2 legs. They needed to sleep for hours every day. How dangerous could they possibly be? Quirrell, the junior recorder, walked beside Veleth through the research station. The young Mirithi carried a recording device in 2 of their 6 appendages. Their large compound eyes reflected the strange yellow sun of Varys 4. "The humans are conducting a botanical survey today," Quirrell said. "They want to study the local plant life." Veleth made a clicking sound of acknowledgement. The Mirithi were an insectoid species. They had evolved on a gentle world with soft rains and mild temperatures. There were few predators on their home planet. Because of this, the Mirithi had become very careful creatures. They tested everything before touching it. They analyzed everything before eating it. Safety was their highest value. The human research team was small. Only 3 members. Captain Wang Yunbai led the group. She was a tall woman with short dark hair and a calm voice. Kang De-Yun served as the team's medic. He was quiet and always carried a medical bag. And then there was Yun Tae-ri. Terry was the botanist. She studied plants on alien worlds. She had bright, curious eyes and a quick smile. Of all the humans, she made Veleth the most nervous. She touched things without scanning them first. She smelled flowers without checking if they released poison. She acted like the universe was not trying to kill her at every moment. Today, the team was exploring a meadow near the research station. Purple grass covered the ground. Strange trees with silver bark grew in small groups. The air smelled sweet and slightly bitter at the same time. "Collecting samples," Terry announced. She pulled out small containers and began gathering soil, leaves, and flower petals. Her movements were quick and confident. Veleth kept a safe distance. Quirrell recorded everything. After 2 hours of work, Captain Yunbai called for a break. The humans sat on flat rocks near a small stream. They opened containers of food they had brought from the ship. Veleth watched with professional interest. Human eating habits were already documented. They consumed organic matter 3 to 5 times per day. They preferred their food heated, though they could eat it cold. Nothing unusual. Then, Tae-ri stood up. She walked toward a bush growing near the stream. Small red berries hung from its branches. They looked bright and shiny in the sunlight. Veleth's scanner activated automatically. Data filled their vision. The berries contained multiple chemical compounds. Some were sugars, some were acids, and some were, Velith froze, Class 7 toxins. The berries contained Class 7 toxins. These compounds were lethal to 94% of known galactic species. Even a small amount could stop a heart. A larger amount could destroy a nervous system completely. No, Velith whispered. Terry reached out and picked a handful of berries. She looked at them briefly. Then she put them in her mouth and began to chew. Coral made a sound of pure horror. The recording device nearly fell from their trembling appendages. Velith could not move. They watched as Terry swallowed the berries and reached for more. She picked another handful, then another. She ate them with the casual attitude of someone enjoying a light snack. Duyan, Terry called out. These are really sweet. Do you want some? The medic looked up from his food. He glanced at the berries and shook his head. No thanks. I don't like the texture. Too mushy for me. Too mushy. The human had rejected deadly poison because he did not like the texture. Velith's mind struggled to process what was happening. The human woman had now consumed enough toxins to kill a Mirathi colony. She should be convulsing on the ground. Her organs should be failing. Instead, she was humming a small tune and picking more berries. Observer Velith, Coral said in a shaking voice. Is my scanner malfunctioning? It says those berries are extremely lethal. Your scanner is working correctly, Velith replied. Their voice sounded strange even to themselves. I am reading the same data. Tori finally noticed the two Mirathi staring at her. She tilted her head with a curious expression. Red juice stained her lips. Is something wrong? She asked. Velith tried to speak. The words would not come. They tried again. You just consumed. You ate. Those are classified as Class 7 toxins. Terry blinked. She looked down at the berries in her hand. Then she looked back at the horrified aliens. Oh, these? She held up the berries. We call them wild strawberries. Well, not exactly strawberries. They're a local variety, but they're similar enough. She popped another berry into her mouth. They're actually pretty mild compared to what we eat back home. Mild. She called Class 7 toxins mild. Captain Yunbai walked over to see what was happening. She looked at the berries, then at the Mirathi observers. Is there a problem? The captain asked. Your crew member has consumed lethal poison, Velith said. The words came out flat and strange. Multiple times. She is still consuming it. Yunbai looked at Terry. Terry shrugged and ate another berry. Those aren't poisonous to humans, Yunbai said calmly. Terry tested them yesterday. The chemical compounds are similar to fruits we eat on Earth. They contain Class 7 toxins, Velith repeated. Class 7, the second highest danger rating in the galactic classification system. Yunbai frowned slightly. I'm not familiar with that rating system. What does Class 7 mean exactly? Coral finally found their voice. It means instant death for most species. Painful instant death. A moment of silence followed. Terry stopped chewing. She looked at the half-eaten berry in her hand with new interest. Huh, she said. That's fascinating. I wonder which compounds are causing that reaction. It might be the glycoalkaloids, or maybe the cyanogenic elements. She took a small notebook from her pocket and began writing. I should study this more closely. She was taking notes. She had just learned she was eating deadly poison, and her response was to take scientific notes. Velith felt their legs growing weak. They sat down heavily on the purple grass. I need to file a report, they said quietly. I need to report this to the council immediately. Du Yun walked over with his medical scanner. He pointed it at Terry briefly, then nodded. Her vitals are perfect, he announced. Heart rate normal. Blood pressure normal. No signs of distress. He put the scanner away. The berries aren't hurting her at all. Velith stared at the humans. These strange, soft, fragile-looking creatures. No claws, no armor, no venom, and yet they could eat death itself and ask for more. What are you? Velith whispered. Terry smiled kindly. She seemed to understand how disturbed the Mirathi were. She put away the remaining berries and wiped her hands on her uniform. We're human, she said simply. And honestly, this is pretty normal for us. You should see what we eat for breakfast. Velith decided right then that they never wanted to see what humans ate for breakfast. Some knowledge was too terrible to possess. But they had a job to do. They had to report this to the Galactic Council. They had to warn the galaxy about what humans could do. The only question was, would anyone believe them?